Hey, this is Amazon Jude coming to you from her war room in Wyoming. And I thought I would do a few things here today and bring up some of the top stories. Democrats have lost their minds. There's no doubt about that. Why people continue to elect the pricks, I'll never know. All they want to do is raise your taxes again and steal your inheritance from your family, the 49%. Income tax or tax on if your mom and dad die, you got to sell the house to pay their 49% taxes that they want. Here's one I thought was kind of funny. This is Hillary Clinton flapping her gums. Let's listen.
Trump's policies would throw us into a recession. The last thing we need.
Some of those jobs of the past are just not going to come back. He just says, well, I'm going to negotiate a better deal. Well, how exactly are you going to negotiate that? What magic wand do you have?
The Dow, well, it's gone up for 8 straight sessions, and it will go up at least at the opening bell again today.
Companies are hiring. We know layoffs are down and companies are hiring. Unemployment for African Americans fell to a new low of 5.9%. Female job seekers,
these guys have got to be losing their minds. What are you going to run on, Democrats? Everything that Trump promised is coming true. And he's over in Beijing meeting with North Korea leader after 60 years. And you guys have the nerve to try to demand that he demand things from the guy? No. He deserves his place on the world stage, as does Putin, whether you like it or not. World leaders are all equal, and this is not the time to be talking about human rights movements. If people don't like the way their country is being run, then they need to do what we did, and that is elect a real leader.
low as well, 3.4%.
Jobless claims dropping to 3.8%. In fact, we've only seen a number that low since 1969.
Even the New York Times has to admit it. Check out this reporting. We ran out of words to describe how good the jobs numbers are.
500 days of American greatness. I just thought that was epic. Let's see what else I thought was really good.
Johnny, let me start with you. We also had heard from Mike Pompeo, who was a little bit more direct. He actually said that North Korea, Kim Jong-un, understands not only what denuclearization means, but he sounds like he's willing to accept it. Should we start to get a little bit more excited? Because I know you've been a skeptic.
Well, sure. I mean, his country is, unto itself. He's got, he sees enemies all around him. He's a young guy. He may not run his country the way we think he should, but is that really our business? No, it's not. And I'm sure Kim Jong-un would love to have internet and Western clothes and access to different kinds of food and better trade and sanctions being lifted. It's time to put this, we got to be at war with every country that is not America, away. And start to make peace amongst our countries. That's the only way America and any other country that wants to prosper can do things. Let's listen to Fox Business here.
About this meeting.
You always have to be cautious when you're in the industry that I've supported my entire life, because once you let your guard down, that's when you're vulnerable to attack. We're looking at about 300 massive moves that the president plans on taking against North Korea, but he's not going to bring those forward until after the talks happen. And if Kim Jong-un is resistant, then we will not be able to move forward with him, and he's ready to walk off the table. However, I am excited because we've gotten further with this than we have since 1953. We've been at war technically for 65 years with North Korea. So this is a beautiful step forward.
Yes, it is. And we should continue to do so. Let's jump up here to some of the highlights of what I found today. I thought was pretty interesting. They've got CNN, making up its own story, and you got that crazy Joe and his paid for hoe saying that Trump is upset that he can't watch porno. I can't even believe they came up with that story. Sounds so stupid, it's not even funny. Let's see. Oh, I like Greg Gutfeld to a degree.
YouTube is live in E3 with new video.
Let's listen to what he has to say.
This week marked the first 500 days of Donald Trump's presidency, or what I like to call the first 500 days of Donald Trump's presidency. I celebrate a little each day. Here's tape.
Yeah, well, Greg can be on and he can be off. But
500 days. 500 days since the media's nervous breakdown began. A lot of stuff happened since then, especially for you in your life. That's what matters, not us, you. And no matter what the media says, life went on without the predicted catastrophes. Your life either stayed the same or it got better. And if it got worse, I blame Obama.
I do too. That fucking pimp. I don't know why he's not sitting in prison right now. He should be. Let's see. I was a little disappointed with Jason Chavez. I don't know if anybody remembers, but it was called Extortion 17. And Chavez was in charge of that operation for the military through some of his stuff. And a lot of soldiers died in that helicopter that he didn't allow them to leave the area when they could have and had been safe. And that was pretty sad. So I take what Jason says with a grain of salt sometimes, because he's kind of like Jay Crowdy or Groudy. Once they're not going to be in politics anymore, then they start flapping their lips.
Barely. He says he was pardoned, or rather he was pardoned by President Trump after serving a year in federal prison for taking photos of classified sections of the submarine where he was stationed. Former Utah Congressman Jason Chaffetz with me now, also a Fox News contributor. Circuit day to you, Jason, and good morning. Here's this statement from a moment ago. We think the IG report, whoa, the IG...
This is going to be kind of interesting, because if you think about it, all of this stuff leads back to Obama. And being that his DOJ and his FBI were corrupted like they are, a lot of people are going to want to sue to have their cases reheard. And I think they should be allowed to do so, because it seems to me that even with Mueller, you know, as dirty as he's turned out to be, you got to remember he was involved in that 9/11 cover-up too, and the Uranium One deal that Clinton was tied up with. And you know, these guys didn't exactly turn over evidence that would have shown a lot of people to be innocent. So I really look for people to start suing the federal government again to get retrials. And if you think about it like that too, all of that Obama had done, and we're finding out that he also was corrupt, and he's still getting a pension. You know, all of these things need to be taken care of. He shouldn't get a pension. Brennan shouldn't get a pension. Yates, Clapper, none of them. They don't deserve a pension from the people. They were corrupt. They were being found out to be corrupt. And most of them should be in prison to begin with. So anyway, let's go on.
A report will add much information to our lawsuit to show how stacked the justice system has been for my client in comparison to Hillary Clinton. We'll file within the next few months. We'd like to see the IG report, because that's going to assist us in our pursuit of justice.
Well, that's coming up too. The IG report's being released on Trump's birthday. Kind of weird. The only thing I'm really hoping for is that the IG guy, Horowitz, I knew Obama hated him, and Hillary was going to fire him if she'd have made president. That he does a thorough and doesn't let anybody redact anything. I know the FBI is trying to hide all of their injustice and sneaky shit, and so is the Department of Justice. But eventually this is all going to come out, and as much internet media is out there that's real compared to the fake media. It's kind of a good thing that people are being persistent about it. On that note, let's listen to another one I thought was really good. This is Judge Janine and Dan Bongino eviscerate another habitual lying liberal.
My opening statement, the liberal media rooting for America to fail, and to continue with that theme, it doesn't get much more un-American than this.
I feel like the bottom has to fall out at some point. And by the way,
this is Bill Maher. Who even listens to this guy? He is oh my God, you know, I once liked him, and then he started getting really nasty and ugly, and I won't tolerate, nor will I watch. In fact, he was the reason I canceled my HBO and Showtime and Cinemax and all of those, because I got tired of listening to assholes like this.
I'm hoping for it, because I think one way you get rid of Trump is a crashing economy. So please bring on the recession.
Yeah, he's not worried about it because he's got millions of dollars. But do you think he gives a rat's ass about you struggling right now to make ends meet? With the job market being open, and you can get a job anywhere. You can get 2 or 3 jobs. Training is now being offered through the government, that if you want to train to do something, an apprenticeship in journeyman electricians and air conditioning and welding, and you know, it's up to you to take advantage of any of that. Back when I was growing up, and I was about 18, and I didn't have a real trade, I went through what we called the CETA program, and that taught me how to be a welder. And I have never been unemployed in the welding industry in my entire life until Obama took office. And I'm happy to say that when I'm all done being sick with my cancer, I can go back to welding and make really good money.
Sorry if that hurts people, but it's either root for a recession or you lose your democracy.
And how does that work? We're losing our democracy? Who's the ones that are trying to steal our tax breaks, that are trying to feed illegals? Make amnesty for people who have no goddamn business in this country to begin with. Look around, people. You're being lied to by the Democrats every single day. Schumer was on the floor the other day ranting and raving, and everything he said was a lie. Here's somebody else I really like to listen to, and that's Diamond and Silk.
I'm a law-abiding citizen. He's never shot anybody. Never.
This is really good. Diamond and Silk. Let's see. Oh, it's going to give me commercial after commercial after commercial. Don't you just love that? You get away from TV so that you can look at YouTube.
Finally caught up with former President Bill Clinton, who offered this comment when asked about his affair with Monica Lewinsky during an interview with NBC's Craig Melvin.
Do you think differently or feel more responsibility?
No, I felt terrible then.
Fucking rapist.
And I came to grips with it.
Did you ever apologize?
And no, yes, and nobody believes that I got out of that for free. You
got out of it for free because you're not rotting in prison, you fucking rapist.
I'm not trying to present a side.
You asked me if I agreed. The answer is no, I don't.
And I asked if you'd ever apologized, and you said you had.
I have.
You've apologized to her.
I apologize to everybody in the world.
But you didn't apologize to her.
I have not talked to her.
Do you feel like you owe her an apology?
No, I do.
Monica Lewinsky, poor gal, stupid, young, gets tied up with old Billy Bob. He sticks a cigar up her yahoo, and he doesn't think he has to apologize for basically ruining her life. Or Janita Broadwick, who he raped, or Jennifer Flowers, or any of the other, 9 women, and they're talking about Trump doing locker room talk. Well, we elected Trump right after that, so it didn't matter to us, because you know why? He's not a rapist.
I never talked to her.
So, 20 years later, and Clinton still believes he doesn't owe Lewinsky a private apology. To make matters worse, Clinton then attempted to clean up his answer on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, but ended up blaming NBC for even asking the question. Listen to this.
You seemed offended to be asked about this thing when, in all due respect, sir,
Your behavior was the most famous example of a powerful man sexually misbehaving in the workplace of my lifetime. And so it doesn't seem surprising that the question would be asked. Why are you surprised?
No, I didn't like this one because it started with an assertion that basically I had never apologized, as if I had never tried to come to grips with it.
Joining me now with their thoughts, Diamond and Silk.
You go, girls.
So, Bill, not used to getting called out for some of his misbehavior, ladies. What do you think about that? A little defensive?
Well, you know what? First of all, it's a new day, so he better get used to it. See, back then they may have looked at him like a sugar daddy, but you know, sugar ain't for free. Today we looking at him like a pervert. That's right. And the reason why he cannot apologize is because he is arrogant. He think he have a sense of entitlement, and he don't. That's right. So he should be called out, and he don't have a right to cherry pick what questions people ask him.
Do you guys feel bad for Monica Lewinsky after all these years?
I feel bad for her because she's been branded and shamed while he's gone on to make millions in book deals and speeches, and that's unfair. And instead of him acting inappropriately and doing salacious things up under that Oval Office desk, he should have been he should have been reading NAFTA instead of signing that into law, leaving the American people riding dirty without jobs.
That's right. That's right. Sorry, son of a bitch. No, here's a good one. Jesse Jackson loved President Trump when he was getting money from him. Now all of a sudden, Trump is president, and now he's a worthless piece of shit. You know, I just love how these black guys and gals get out there, and that's the Democrats, Uncle Toms and Uncle Bessies that are out there. You notice they always get these black people to go on television and these talk shows, Don Lemon and, you know, all of these guys to talk shit about Trump, right? It's to sway the black voter. We know that. I mean, really.
Truly, you're not going to want to miss it. Colin Kaepernick reportedly wants to put President Trump on the witness stand. Kaepernick is the quarterback who began the NFL's kneeling protest during the national anthem, as you recall.
Yeah, and the little prick ain't got nothing to show for it, not even a fucking job. You get on your knees, motherfucker, I'll put a beer on your head. You kneel for my national anthem, or you can fuck off as far as I'm concerned.
So does Cap have a case? Let's debate that with the Reverend Jesse Jackson. Reverend Jackson, I don't think you and I have talked since like 1998. So I'm glad to have you on the show. Thanks so much for being with us. Let's talk about what is going on with this these NFL protests. Do you actually think that the NFL lawsuit that Kaepernick apparently is going to file as grievance would be a proper grounds to have Donald Trump, the President of the United States, testify, and why?
Well, he exercised his First Amendment right to protest for his rights.
Not on our fucking time, fucking asshole.
The protest really was about police brutality that went unanswered.
We don't even know what his protest is about. We've heard about 10 or 15 different reasons why these fucking dickheads in the NFL get on their knees. You want to be on your knees? Go home and do it in your fucking parlor and ask God to forgive you for being a dickhead.
Rodney King beat Miller to death without consequences. Diallo shot, killed in New York by police without consequences. Abner Williams was jammed in the rectum till he nearly bled to death in New York. The case of Brown and Ferguson, Missouri. And so somebody said, well, don't Black Lives Matter? Aren't there consequences to what's happening to us? The kneeling was an appeal to the flag in a peaceful protest.
Really?
We're not burning or desecrating the flag, an appeal. We've gone on our knees appealing for the government to recognize our right to vote in 1965. So there's nothing harmful or threatening about kneeling to the flag.
No,
Well, and you know what? It wasn't the fucking Democrats who gave you fuckers the right to vote either, was it? Can you say Republican?
I understand what your point of view is on that, totally. I get it. But what does that have to do with President Trump testifying in a grievance against the NFL? I mean, how
By interfering in the process, he has convinced his constituents of the de facto boycott and the owners to, in fact, put a penalty before the players if they, in fact, choose to protest,
Well,
which
he
they have
stated
the
his
right.
opinion,
Well, his
This
opinion
fucking asshole
is
don't even know what he's talking about. It's amazing. Let's see.
So this Russian Spygate Trump madness has really reached levels beyond proportion. Anyone who still believes this stuff, I now consider a mind slave. No longer brainwashed, no longer ignorant, literal mind slaves.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
I just have to get this off my chest because it's really bothering me. And it all comes back to the same issue I was talking about from, unfortunately, and this is just this is the common nomenclature, the left versus the right, where just look at the blatant double standards that the left has right now. But it's not even a double standard. This is like, I don't even know how to, this is beyond mental illness.
Insanity.
This is like,
it's
beyond
insanity.
brainwashing. It's like, almost like a controlled mind slave. Seriously, that's how it's like. That is the only thing I can think of to describe this, where anybody could consider this path of thinking to be rational and logical. The only way is if you are a mind slave. Think about this. So you've got the spying on the Trump campaign story, right?
Nope.
Okay, they say they spied on the Trump campaign. They didn't. They did. They didn't. They did. Okay, they did, but we won't call it spying.
Right.
Well, whatever. They justify it and they say, we were spying on Trump for his protection. He should be thanking the FBI. But if that was the case, why didn't they spy on Hillary Clinton, who had the open servers, illegal servers with classified information on it? But then more importantly, and this when it comes to the mind slave aspect, how then are you going to say that you spied on Trump for his protection
when you didn't even tell him that he had possible spies in his campaign? This was all set up. Like I said, it all goes back to Obama. They knew if Trump got in there that their little party was over and that we were going to find all their little slush funds and where they had money coming in. That's what Mick Mulvaney did. He found Elizabeth Warren's little slush fund, and DOJ found slush funds. No one of these guys are asking for money right now. Their fucking pricks are broke.
Okay? And you're spying on the bank robber, and they say, look, you illegally spied on the bank robber. You don't say, I was spying on the bank robber for his protection. No, that...
No shit. Anyway, the point being that media went nuts today, of course. You know, they're all upset that Trump is over there possibly making friends with Kim Jong-un. That, oh, this is good too. Dick Morris, if you ever get a chance.
Harriet Hageman.
You listen to him. He's good too.
My whole life.
This is Harriet Hageman. She's running for Wyoming governor. I don't have much hope for her, but she can sure give it a try. Anyway, this is funny.
Andrew McCabe, who was just forced to resign as deputy director of the FBI, is going to be called before Congress in the next week or two. And believe it or not, his lawyers have requested immunity. And if they don't get it, there is some considerable chance that the former deputy director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation will take the Fifth Amendment to avoid testifying. What a spectacle, what a circus. And this isn't just any ordinary deputy director. McCabe was directly in charge of the investigation of Hillary's missing emails. McCabe was directly in charge of the investigation of the spies from Russia who conspired to get Hillary to vote to sell our uranium mines to Russia. McCabe was directly in charge of investigating pay for play and the Clinton Foundation. And for this guy to refuse to answer questions, to take the fifth, is just shocking, just outrageous. More and more when we compare the lack of evidence of any collusion between Trump and Russia with the massive evidence of the politicization, the flogging, and the bias of the FBI, we're understanding that the real scandal here is not Trump,
That's right.
but is the FBI.
It is the FBI.
Today's Lunch Alert is sponsored by the...
And that's a fact. Thank you, Dick Morrison. He used to work for the Clintons years ago, and he was kind of like the cleanup man. So the man knows what he's talking about.
Craftsman, now at Lowe's.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
As you were heading into these G7 talks, there was a sense that the America's closest allies were frustrated with you and angry with you, and that you were angry with them, and that you were leaving here early to go meet for more friendlier talks with Kim Jong-un in Singapore. And I'm wondering if you view it the same way, and do you view the U.S. alliance system shifting under your presidency away?
Who are you with, out of curiosity?
CNN.
I figured. Fake news, CNN. The worst. But, you know, I could tell by the question. I have no idea you're with CNN. After the question, I was just curious as to who you're with. You're with CNN. I would say that the level of relationship is a 10. We have a great relationship. Angela and Emmanuel and Justin, I would say the relationship is a 10. And I don't blame them. I blame, as I said, I blame our past leaders for allowing this to happen. There was no reason this should happen. There's no reason that we should have big trade deficits with virtually every country in the world. I'm going long beyond the G7. There's no reason for this. It's the fault of the people that preceded me.
Yep.
And I'm not just saying President Obama. I'm going back a long way.
Yep.
You can go back 50 years, frankly.
Frankly.
It just got worse and worse and worse. You know, we used to be a...
That's because we didn't have leaders. We had pimps. They all could be blackmailed. They were all in it up to their eyebrows and making backroom deals and money. And that goes back to Papa Bush with his New World Order crap. And when that man dies, I will fucking dance happily on his grave, and George Soros and John McCain and Chuck Schumer. All those evil bastards in Washington need to go.
That was unbelievably cash flow oriented, had no debt of any consequence, and they'd build the highway system. We built the interstate system virtually out of cash flow. And it was a lot different. No, we have a very good relationship, and I don't blame these people, but I will blame them if they don't act smart and do what they have to do.
That's right. You tell them. I'm just scanning Twitter right now and seeing what's up there. Some good cartoons. Rand Paul was good today. He says Senator Rand Paul charged the Obama administration's FBI and CIA with seeking to entrap members of Donald Trump's presidential campaign. And that's exactly what happened. And that's why Mueller's bragging about this 17 indictments. 13 of them are Russian, so-called. And they're never going to be in the country to try. 14, 15, 16, 17. That leaves 4, because he's claiming 17. Flynn is still up in the air. And that's probably going to be reversed because even the FBI guy who interviewed him said he's not lying to us. So that's going to blow up in Pimphead's face. Another one, Papadopoulos, he pled out. Who cares? He was like a fucking coffee boy. He was no foreign advisor like all of these fake news media like to say. And the third one, who was that? They never even charged Carter Page. And they used that as a entryway to even start to get FISA warrants. This shit's
Let me just say that I had an opportunity to speak to the president on Friday right before he left on Air Force One to go to the G7 and then to Singapore. And he said to me, look, I watched your show today. This was Friday morning. He said, and I want to make sure you communicate to your guests and to your panels, I am negotiating. The aluminum and steel tariffs may not be the end all, the 25% and the 10% tariffs that he's putting on. This is a negotiation. He's right, Griff. I mean, the bottom line is the U.S. is on the losing end of all of these deals. My big thing is with China, and what's really important is the forced transfer of technology and the theft, the intellectual property theft that has been going on for decades. So I don't really care, and I know that the markets do not care if the Chinese buy more stuff from America. They don't care to see $200 billion of more agricultural products bought. What they want to see is some movement to stop the Chinese from stealing our intellectual property and forcing the transfer of technology from American companies to Chinese companies.
Look at these GDP estimates that we can show you on the screen right now. In trillions of US dollars, allies total 19.2 trillion, US total, I mean, that just gives you the sense, 20.4 trillion. US alone.
We can't take our ball and go home. We are the game.
That says it all. You're absolutely right. We are the game. That's the bottom line. They need us a lot more than we need them.
That's
Let me just say that.
That's right. Well, the eyebrow gate, that was funny today. Trudeau's so-called eyebrow was moving around while he was sitting there. Merkel's got to be absolutely beside herself, Angela Merkel from Germany, because she gave $60 million to Hillary campaign, and she got nothing for it. In fact, she's about to get bitch slapped over it, because I'm making sure everybody remembers that. Food stamps are down. Oh, here's a good one. John McCain, Mr. Traitor himself. To our allies, bipartisan majorities of American remain pro-free trade and pro-globalization. I don't know who you got in your pocket. You got a mouse in your pocket, you little cocksucker. But we're not global anything. We are the USA. 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 Oh, here's old Clapper. This is Obama's little right-hand man, and this fucker should be in prison.
Let me start with the president's tweets yesterday. This idea that maybe President Obama ordered an illegal wiretap of his offices. If something like that happened, would this be something you would be aware of?
I would certainly hope so. I can say, obviously I can't speak officially anymore, but I will say that for the part of the national security apparatus that I oversaw as DNI, there was no such wiretap activity mounted against the president-elect at the time, or as a candidate, or against his campaign.
Well, that turned out to be a lie. I'll bet you look stupid now. And CNN goes and hires this fucker as a consultant. Boy, they are in the toilet. Ken Starr, Washington Examiner, tried to say that Trump has a moral obligation to grant an interview with Mueller. What they fail to tell you is that he also said if he was Trump's advisor or attorney, he would never allow him to sit down with Mueller. So what does that tell you? Even he knows Mueller is fucking corrupt. Oh, and another one. John Kelly reportedly said the White House is a miserable place to work. Well, this is just one of about 50 so far of inaccuracies and outright lies told by the Washington Examiner. Kelly would never say that to begin with. Let's see. Let's see what these guys open.
Thank my friend from Louisiana for the opportunity to speak tonight in the House chamber on the benefits of the Tax Cuts and Job Act that have had across our country, and particularly in the 2nd Congressional District of Arkansas.
That's right.
Like most Americans and Arkansans, we are all today actively benefiting by the Tax Cuts and Job Act signed by President Trump at the end of last year through lower withholding rates. All Americans should check your check and look at the difference in withholding this year versus last year. A streamlined tax filing process, doubling the child tax credit, a doubled standard deduction, Mr. Speaker, that now says that 9 out of 10 Arkansans living in the 2nd District can file a simple tax reform and not have to go through the paperwork of itemizing. And flexibility now in tax advantage savings for kids' education is expanded to K through elementary and high school. This helps our families, Mr. Speaker. And I hear numerous examples from Arkansans and business people across the district of how they're seeing that benefit manifested besides the changes in their paycheck. My friend Mr. Crawford referenced Entergy, and all C Corps that are utilities in this country are required to share the benefits of our tax cut directly with the households in their electricity bills, their gas bills. Those rates are falling, directly proportionate with the reduction in tax cut rates, to the point that Arkansans will save about $20 a month on a typical electrical bill. I had a woman write me just a few months ago, right after the law passed, saying that she checked her check in February on withholding, and she found that the change in withholding now paid for the health insurance premium she's covering for her daughter. These are not crumbs, as alleged by certain leaders in Washington. These are dollars our families get to spend in a way that benefits them. A local banker in my district announced $500 bonuses for each of their 800 employees, Mr. Speaker. That's real money in addition to the tax savings. That executive at the bank said, a tax reform has created the opportunity for us to reward our employees that are working hard each day to serve our customers and enrich the relationships across our community. Those are not crumbs, Mr. Speaker. And to make a statement like calling you keeping more of your money crumbs just shows you how out of touch some political leaders are up here in the Beltway. Real families in Arkansas and across our country, we want to have more income for our families. Our businesses want more money to invest, because if we invest money, we grow our companies faster, we add employees, we boost the GDP. We're part of that American dream that we're witnessing with the...
Yep, that's exactly right, sir. Now, his name was French Hill, and he's a Republican Democrat, or a Republican out of Arkansas. Let's see what else was really good. I think that's about it. The point I was making is that, you know, President Trump is doing a great job, and it's up to us out here to get out the vote. We know Democrats are really good at that. They go and sign up people who don't even understand who they're voting for just to get them to the election office. And we know the illegals love all the free shit they get. So as long as they're allowed to vote in our system, we're going to have a tough time. But this year is pretty much important. We have 33 Democrat congressmen up for election. Let's get all 33 of those seats red. Don't just vote for any old Republican. Do a little vetting on them. Make sure that in their past that they've been businessmen and not political hacks. So be careful on who we replace those seats with. But 428 House seats are up. And we can do a lot of housekeeping on that if we take over 200 of the Democrat seats. So even on your local levels, do not vote Democrat. If you like the way the country's going, and wait, this is only the first 500 days. Can you imagine where we'll be in 4 years or 8 years? We might actually be able to put money back in our bank accounts and have enough money to send our kids to school. So we don't need your free shit, Bernie. We wanted jobs. We're getting jobs. We wanted rollback on regulations. Regulations are being rolled back. And I know you guys hate the idea that the EPA Pruitt is doing what he's doing, but you know what? Name me one congressman with 17 aides that hasn't sent one of them to the fucking dry cleaners, and I'll call you a liar. So get off of Pruitt's ass, leave Mulvaney alone, leave Melania alone, and Ivanka. They're all good women, they're all good men, and they deserve our support. So get out the vote in November, and let's flip these blue seats red. Let's show them what a red wave really looks like. So with that, I'll sign off, and this is Amazon Jude from Wyoming. Oh, and Wyoming, get wise. I only see 2 good people to run for governor. And I'll leave that up to you, but I'll tell you who not. Mary Throne. I have listened to this woman in the legislation, and she's a fucking joke. She will strangle this state if she ever makes office.